bro. Don't even mention it.
We got to mention 100. The hundreds are the. We get to 100 episodes. We got to have like a little episode 100 party. Don't let us miss it. We got to do something. We got to do something fun for episode 100. Like maybe we have like Jason and Mitch like pop in at least.
The contributors.
Yes, the contributors, and then like we could pretend like we have a bunch of fans. Do you think Haley's dad would like write us a note and we could just pretend like it's
Oh
like
yeah,
Haley's
bro.
dad? Like be
Yeah.
like, hey, some fan note, like congratulations on episode 100. Like people are noticing, Like is that
How about the
totally
YouTube? Since y'all are here with us, you guys can write us fan notes too. Yeah, we'd love it. We do have fans, 32 of them. I don't know who you are, but I yeah.
It was just so funny to me that like there's legitimate shows that like they do 100 or 200 and people like write them notes and we're like, should we manufacture our notes? Like, should we pretend and then just bring it to the podcast world? Like, hey, yeah.
Still at the beginning stages, guys. Okay. Don't hate. We're just
Oh, you know what? You caught us at the ground floor. That's the beautiful part. We are what we
yeah,
are, man. We are what we are.
we
And we're
are
gonna
what we
but
are.
episode now you
I
know.
honestly think we're great though. I
We're
honestly do.
fantastic. Episode 100 is going to be fun. That's the point. We're going to have Mitchie stop in. We're going to have Jason stop in. We're going to write ourselves notes and pretend like we're fans. It's going to be great. Haley's dad is going to write us a note, but we're not going to let you guys know that. We're just going to read a
That's right. It's
username.
gonna be a
We're
fan
going to
note.
read a username,
An
and you won't even know who it is.
anonymous fan note. Well, thank you.
Like,
You may like get one of those those fan boxes that someone sends us in the mail. Oh my gosh, look, someone
this
sent us some cool stuff.
this is like the ultimate like moment of like, have you ever seen those memes? Like when is the last time you were called handsome? And like a dude looks at his calendar, like, when was the last time I saw my mom? Let's see.
Yeah.
Like, like just like it's so sad, but it's so reality, dude. It is so reality. So
It's
much reality, bro.
hey, we're growing though. We are growing.
Oh,
We
we're doing great,
truly
dude.
are.
We're crushing it, dude. I think we're crushing it. I
Yeah,
mean,
we are.
slow and steady. But here's the thing. I was listening to the Kelsey brothers today, and they had Pat McAfee on.
Oh,
And one of the really great things was that they complimented, and I agreed with this. I did agree with this, that Pat is Pat. Like he just does
yeah.
his thing, like it or
Mhm.
not, hate him or love him. Like that's what he does. It's his show, and that's us. Like we're not gonna pretend to hate each other. We're not just gonna yell at each other for no reason. We're not
Right.
just gonna like present to you clickbait. Like we're gonna try to give you real opinion, real talk, just two boys hanging out. Like that's what
That's
we're
right.
doing. That's what we're
That's
about.
all. That's all we're doing, and it's just natural, dude. It flows, man.
Dude,
If
just
I was just arguing with you all the time, I would not be here because I could not handle it because it's not who I am.
I would not handle. I just
I'm a
can't argue.
peacekeeper, peacemaker.
I'm a P. My mom tells me I'm great.
Yeah.
I bet my parents would write us a fan note like, Dad, I need you to come up with a cool
Oh,
username.
mine would, dude. My dad always texts me every week, like, "Hey, I like that, that segment that you guys talked about,
Oh
or
yeah. Yeah,
whatever." So,
I've definitely actually been getting feedback. That's the funny part is I actually have been getting feedback, and I've actually had one of the baseball kids that I coach. Like I had no idea that their mom like showed them our podcast. Like,
really,
Coach Fredo, listen to your podcast. You guys are so funny. I was like, hey, dude, thanks. Like you're super young. We're not that old. Look at us. Look at us.
wow, that's so cool. Wow.
Dude, the other day,
We have a good amount of people that watch us and listen to us from Canada.
Canada, shout outs to you, man.
Yeah, shout out to Canada, man. Like we
Canada.
appreciate you guys. That's
Hey,
awesome.
we talk a lot of hockey, Canada. So stay tuned.
We do. We truly do.
Eh,
Fredo knows his hockey. He really does.
I
And he's gotten me
love
into
me
it.
some hockey. I
He's
love
gotten
me
me
some
into
hockey,
it.
dude. Connor McDavid revenge tour. Watching him be depressed last year, like that was it was hard to watch, man.
Tattoos.
He's a great. As a Kings fan, it's bittersweet. Like I don't want to be just that bitter guy. It's like, oh, they beat us, so I'm kind of happy you lost. But like at the same time, like Connor McDavid's a really good hockey player, man. It's just a matter of time before he gets one.
He's
You
so good.
know,
He's so freaking
and
good.
those Oiler fans are like, dude, they are committed.
Oh
Like
yeah,
the
man.
difference between when the Kings played at the Oilers and when the Oilers played at us was astronomical. Like
Yeah.
we were sort of like, yeah, go Kings. The Oilers like, this is live. This is live. Like it was it's quite sad. But the Kings, we got it. We're growing, we're growing. We got a good fan base.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, it's LA, man. It's yeah.
Have you seen, dude? It is LA. Have you seen the price tag on possibly the Dodger World Series tickets?
It's in the thousands. And I
Thousands, dude.
remember last time, 2020 there was no ticket sales. So 2018 was the last time there, and it was like in the 400s. And so,
400s, dude.
thanks inflation. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you.
Come again. Please come again. Dude,
Yeah, dude. I mean, even game 6 is in the NLCS if it comes back. I think I saw it was like $350 or something
dude,
for like a top deck.
I took my son. I'm so happy I took them when I did. I took my kiddos on Monday. Actually, we're gonna get into this on the podcast. That'll be a podcast side.
Yeah.
But just know YouTube, we went. It was legit. It was
Yeah,
lit.
it was legit. It was
It was
legit.
it was cracked. That's the new one. Have you heard this one, Big Z?
Yeah.
No, I'm not gonna say this on the podcast because I don't know exactly what it means, but it's cracked. That's what the kids say.
Is that like
They'll be
it's
like
like
they'll
a
be like
good
playing
thing?
like Halo. So my sons just saved up, bought themselves an Xbox, and like when they're playing like Super Smash like on their Switch, they're like, oh, he's cracked, and I'm like, is that good? Is that bad?
Well, okay. Well, in Super Smash specifically, like the shield, like you can crack the shield.
No, no, that's not.
No?
It's not
Okay.
because
Then
they say it outside of that too.
oh,
Like
okay.
they'll be watching the Dodger game and they'll be like, Max Muncy's cracked, and I'm like, well, is that he's doing really well? So I'm assuming.
That's a
I'm
good
assuming that's
thing.
good, right? Like that, and I feel old. Like I feel like as I'm saying it, I just hear myself like, yeah, it's good, right? Like
Give me my cane over there. Let me go to my dictionary and
it's like
check it
they,
out.
I like
The
literally
Urban
asked.
Dictionary.
I was like I've heard one that like I still have no idea. The context around it is unclear. I know in the Greek it's a word, right? Sigma. Like I know sigma, right? It's a letter
Right.
and it's part of
Yeah.
the Greek alphabet. But like they have been saying like what in the sigma or like, dude, you're sigma and I'm like, is that good? Is it bad? Because they've said it when something good happened, but they've also been like, dude, stop being so sigma. And I'm like, what is that? Sounds bad in that context. But
What?
then I've heard them say it in good context. So I don't
Bro, that's wild. I've never heard that.
just
I've never heard those two terms yet.
dude, just wait, bro. Just wait until your boy's older. And then he's gonna come home and be like, dude, that's cracked. And they don't say that's crap. Like that was our generation, right? They say that's
Right.
cap.
That's crap.
That's
Yeah.
cap. They say that's cap. They took out the R. They saved themselves 0.02 seconds and they say that it's cap.
My
So
gosh. They're being brevity, bro.
they're being so brevity, dude. That's like the one that actually made sense was the Riz, right? Like we talked about that one. Like
Yes.
Riz because
Yes.
it comes from uh that one word that is escaping me right now, but yeah.
Rizzo?
What? No, the Riz. It comes from charisma. It comes from charisma. Like the
Right.
bro, like bro's got that Riz.
You got some good Riz on you.
Oh, dude, they'll be like watching baseball, like Mookie's got that Riz, bro. Or Shohei's got that Riz. I'm like, dude, what? What does that mean? Like both those guys are married. Like they're not trying to Riz anyone. Like what are you talking? Like what are you talking about? Anyway, all right, you know what, dude? Let's get. Oh, YouTube, you're so welcome. This was probably our best intro ever. Like if I had to rank it,
It's great.
it's gotta be. No, your love story is number one. The Big
Oh yeah, that was a
Z
good one.
Haley love story is number one.
That was a good
This
one.
is number two. A
This is
deep,
number
deep
two.
number two.
A deep one. Yeah. All right. Let's get this thing going.
Yes, we are back. Brevity Sports. Just letting you know, by the way, that intro is going to change. It's going to change, Big Z. It's
I
going to
was
change
just
too.
I was just going to kind of hint to the people like there's something special coming at you guys next week. So
Mm.
I can't wait. I don't know. First off, I don't know how we're gonna figure out how to change that. Like, we just have to we have to tap into some abilities that I don't think that either of us know we have, but I think we do have them.
I think that you have them. I think
No.
that they're
I
just
think
below
we
the
need to
surface.
be it's together, it's a collaboration. It has to be a collaboration or else it will not work.
I'm
So
I'm in. I'm in for whatever it is, Big Z. Like
it,
you are
I'm
the
I
really
cannot wait.
tech
Next week is it's gonna be dope. It's gonna
big.
be we're gonna have some Riz on us.
Wow, that is. If you
Riz.
don't know what he's talking about, you got to go to our YouTube
Yeah, you
because
gotta go. You gotta
it was a
go.
really, really interesting
YouTube
intro, and
Easter egg.
it's just not something that we're gonna release on a podcast. It's just not. If you want to hear what we're talking about, you're gonna have to go to YouTube. But Big Z is like he is selling himself way short. He has figured out all of this editing stuff, the song. I still don't know how he does half the things he does. I just sort of show up and sit here, and Big Z is just like making everything work. He is the bones. He is the backbone of the operation. Big Z, everybody. Give him a round of applause. That's
You're the muscle, bro.
I am
You're the
the
muscle, dude.
I'm the
You
Sigma,
make
which
us
I don't
look
know if it's
great.
good or bad. I don't know if it's good or
That's
bad. I don't
good.
know.
That's
It's
the good thing. Like you're like you make us look good. Like people are like, oh yeah. It's like because of Fredo,
yeah.
you know?
Yes. I should I don't know if there's a good, cracked. Oh, that's the one, cracked. I'm cracked,
Cracked.
bro. I'm
Yes.
cracked.
You're
I
cracked.
don't, the kids these days, these young whippersnappers throwing
Those
words at us. I'm telling you,
whippersnappers.
go check out our YouTube. Big Z, before we start, dude, how was your weekend, man? We didn't even jump into that.
Bro.
Usually we jump into that on YouTube. We didn't.
Yeah,
How's your
we
how was
did
your
it.
weekend?
It was awesome. It was our well, it was a late anniversary. Our anniversary was last month, but we were able
Okay.
to get away this last weekend.
There you go.
So, it was so nice just to wake up in silence and just not be on a schedule. For once, like it hasn't been like that for a while.
Yeah.
So that was really, really cool. Friday night, of course, game 5, Padres Dodgers. We started out at a restaurant and the game was on, but the sound to the game wasn't on.
What?
And because like they're calling out like, okay, number 42, your order's ready. And Haley's like, this is stupid. Like I can't enjoy the game.
No.
And so like I go up and ask like, hey, are you able to turn this down? Like, no, we can't. And I was like, well, I don't know. So Haley, sorry, okay. She said, I'm gonna go ask someone else. I'm mad. I'm like, okay.
Leave it
Okay.
to the legend, dude. Leave it to the legend.
Bro. And then they like the other person, like, no, we have to keep like we call out the orders. So like that's our speaker. And so we're like, okay, so we ate our food. It was probably the third inning by then, like when we were done. And we walked down, went to the store, got some goodies, and then went back to our hotel room because we're like, okay,
Yeah.
let's watch the game. And so I turn on the TV and like they have ESPN, ESPN2, FS1, TLC, HBO, all those, but they don't have Fox. They don't
Wow.
have Fox. So I had to reside to watching the game on the phone. Thank goodness there was Wi-Fi because there wasn't service there. Yeah. So, but there was Wi-Fi at the hotel. So there's a picture of me like on the bed. Haley took me. I'm like just looking at my phone, like hunchback, like watching the game,
Just
but
like
like super
Smeagol
pumped.
status, just like hunched
Yeah.
over, just like, I'm
Um,
precious. Like,
but
just
it
like,
was worth it because of course they won the game and it was fun. But it was a great weekend, bro. Just some date night, like good food, just yeah, celebrating each other. And yeah, it was good. It was good. It's nice to be back. I missed Oliver a bunch. And yeah, man, how was your weekend? What did you do?
my weekend was terrible. So
Was it?
yeah, oh,
That's
awful. So we we had a yard sale on Saturday morning, which was super
oh,
exciting.
nice. I love yard sales.
Got to wake up early, and I was
We
like,
love yard
yeah, we're waking
sales.
up early. Dude, I do not love yard sales.
We
I
love it, dude.
especially
We find
I
so much cool stuff.
okay, going to one is cool, but
Well,
like
okay,
having to
well, yeah,
go.
not hosting it or
No, we
not.
hosted the yard sale.
Yeah,
It
oh
was
yeah,
our
yeah. No,
yard
that
sale.
sucks. Yeah, that sucks.
So that was a great way to start the day. The kid's like, Dad, we don't like, there's at one point Jaden's crying because he wanted to sell his dinosaurs to because they wanted an Xbox, right? And I was like, I'm not just going to buy you an Xbox. Like, I'll help you get an Xbox, but if you want an Xbox, you already have a Switch. Like, you don't need an Xbox. If you don't get an Xbox, like you're getting money for your birthdays. Like, you can save up, you can recycle. There's a number of ways to get you an Xbox. So I really wanted them to get it themselves. And so part of that was they wanted to do yard sales. Like, okay, 100%, I dug my own grave here. I told you that you should buy your own Xbox. And now we got to have a yard sale. So we had a yard sale, and like halfway through, Jaden is in shambles because he just sold his dinosaurs that he's had forever. And he's like, I should not have sold them, like falling to pieces as this dude is walking away with his dinosaurs. And like, buddy, you never play with those. Like, I have not seen you play with those in years. In years, you have not played with those. He's like, yeah, I should have sold them for more. Like, just shambles, bro. And it was just like, oh my gosh. So that was my morning dealing with that. They sold some stuff. And then I had the rare opportunity to go with my lovely wife and her family to one of their relatives' house to go through and organize boxes that were in a garage. I'm not going to say whose boxes they were. I'm not going to say how the boxes got there. All I'm going to say is that there were far too many boxes in one garage that were filled with stuff.
Mm.
And we didn't just throw them out. We took the time for about 4 hours to
Oh
go through
boy.
each box and
Oh
decide if
boy.
it was yard sale worthy or not yard sale worthy. So that was a special, special time.
It's a
And then
great time.
Sunday,
Great bonding.
Sunday was a little bit better, but then we did
Okay.
family pictures. And if you have a 9-year-old and 10-year-old, you know how excited they are to take pictures. So that was really fun. So it was a good weekend. We got through almost Friday.
Sometimes the weekends are just you just have to kind of trudge along and
I
get
was
through them.
excited. I'll be honest. As a pool man, that is one of the things that I love is that there are certain Mondays where like a lot of people dread Mondays. There are
Yeah.
certain weekends where I'm looking forward to the silence of just
Yes. Oh
me
yeah, bro.
and my
100%. Yeah.
just me, my net, and a pool and a gorgeous sunrise. I think I even posted on my pool page on like one of my days. I was like, this is not a bad way to start the morning. Like it was just such a
Yeah.
beautiful view. It's like the sun coming over a tree. It was so nice. And
Mm.
it's nice and cool outside. I got like a light jacket
Yeah.
on.
Finally feels like fall.
Oh,
Yeah.
just so
I know.
perfect. So that was nice. But we got through it, dude. And I'm not one to complain. So it was still a great weekend. I
Hey,
got to
it's
hang out with
family time.
family.
You look back on that stuff, you laugh at it.
Oh, it's
Um,
hilarious. Looking back, I'm like, wow,
oh yeah, bro.
this was
And
good.
hey,
This was good.
The Dodgers won on Friday and then they won on Sunday night, game one. So like, it was good. It's
Yeah,
good
and
in
we're
that
you know
regard.
we're gonna get into baseball in a bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because we have to talk about that. Because this series to last year's, we're gonna talk about all that. But we gotta jump right in, Big Z. There's some big news in the NFL. So reunited,
Huge.
some people. I don't know if you've heard this before, Big Z. They've been
Never.
reunited, and I'm told that being reunited sometimes it feels so good. And in this
Oh,
case, yeah,
really?
Aaron
Wow.
Rodgers, Devontae
Original, bro.
Adams,
That was original.
yeah, how original. Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams, dude. Not like 5 seconds after the news broke, Adams was in Rodgers' house, right? Like
Which
on the
is
Pat McAfee show, which is
insane.
it's pretty
Insane.
impressive. Like
Yeah. I mean, it just shows like how in sync they are, I guess. I,
like,
I
but
don't know, man. Like,
how did he even do that? Like, was he on an airport before the deal was done? Like he had to be like on the
I'm
plane on the
sure,
way. Like this is getting done.
I'm sure he's given a heads up like way before all of us and Adam Schefter and all those guys knew. Like they're probably like, get out. Like we're trading you. Like we're trading you your team you want to go to and do whatever you want. And he was like, he probably called up his bud. And yeah, he went over to his house, bro. I mean, look, uh, I think it will turn more heads towards the Jets. I don't know if it's going to be necessarily great for the team. I don't know if it fixes them. They looked a lot better on Monday night with their new offensive play caller, but the defense looked a lot more like crap without Robert Salo there, like
Yeah,
because he's a defensive coach. And so if you can't stop people from scoring, you're just still not going to win a lot of games.
right.
And so like I am interested to see, how Garrett Wilson looks with Devontae there. And just how Devontae and Aaron Rodgers, like, are they able to pick it up where they last left off? Years ago in Green Bay. I mean,
Right.
they're all a lot older. Aaron Rodgers is 40 years old. Devontae's still good, but like we'll see, man. I don't know. Like it's definitely an experiment for sure.
Well, the other thing too is like Aaron Rodgers to me, when I watch that game, like he doesn't look the same. Like he
He
doesn't
can't
look
move. He
like he
can't
did a few
move.
years ago, right? Like that mobility they used to have really came in handy. So I think it helps them. Do I think this automatically is like, oh, here they go, they're making
Super
the
Bowl
playoffs,
contender.
Super
Yeah.
Bowl contenders, playoff contenders for sure? I don't think that does that
No.
for you. I think it does make your team better. Obviously, adding a Devonte Adams to your team does not hurt. But does this mean like, oh, Jets are in the playoffs? I do not think so. I agree with you, Big Z. I thought the one thing we've sat here and said, look, we're not going to sit here and say that Robert Saleh is a starting head coach. And we sat here and told you that. We told you that. Look, he's not he's probably not a great head coach. Okay. But what he is he's a really good defensive coordinator. So if this
Mm-hmm.
was the move, if you were going to do this and you are going to continue to run this archaic offense that Aaron Rodgers loves to run without any pre-snap motion for whatever reason, we don't know why it happens. It looks terrible. If you're going to continue to do this, you might as well have Robert Saleh still at the helm, right? Because he's not an
Right.
offensive coach anyway. And if you're not going to grow and adapt in the offensive manner that you need to, what does it matter, right? So
Right.
that's the piece where they kind of lost me with this move. But it is what it is, man. It is what it is. We'll see what happens. We'll see if they make the playoffs. I'll tell you what, because we're gonna keep lame songs going. Big Z, Coop da doop, Coop da doop, Coop
Ooh.
da doop da doop da doop. Cooper is on the move. He has been released. He has been set free. He's been allowed to spread
Yes.
his wings, if you will. He has shed the sunroof on his Mini Cooper. Yes, all the name puns.
Ooh,
That's right.
Coop, man.
He
You're
is
so good at
the
that.
dude.
Wow.
We're doing it. That was
The
off cut.
muscle. The muscle.
The muscle. So he's doing it. So he's like popping through, man. He's a gazelle. He's running free now, Big Z. And he's going to the Bills,
Yep.
where Josh Allen clearly needs an alpha. That is watching the Bills. They're a good team. I'm not going to sit here and say the Bills are not a good team. They're a good team. They have a good defense. They have some
Yep.
great running backs. They have decent depth with Isaiah Davis. I thought he looked fantastic. I don't think he's James Cook. Everybody who's saying like, oh, he's going to steal all the stuff. Relax. Relax. He's not. James Cook is a dog. He's going to be
Right.
just fine. But I do think this doesn't hurt them to add an alpha because it just seems like there's not really that guy that Josh Allen can count on right now. And I think a lot of people are hoping that it would be like a Kincaid, but he really just hasn't shown
Yeah.
himself to be that. So
I
this could be the weapon.
I do think that's a reason why Kincaid or who's the other tight end? Knox, like haven't
Knox, yeah.
been prevalent in their offenses because
Yeah.
they're being guarded a lot more. Like they're being like guys are shadowing towards them because they're probably the best weapons besides Josh Allen on the field. Like
Right.
there is no Stephon Diggs, right? So like they need to cover the next best guys. And so I think adding Cooper will open up the middle of the field for those big tight ends in the red zone. I think it's really going to help Josh Allen a lot. And I just hope that this move, I hope Josh Allen doesn't fall victim of the moment and be like, look, I have to just force feed the ball all the time to Cooper because that's what happened with him and Stephon Diggs.
Right.
Like, right. And like he just felt like he had to force feed him the ball no matter what, even if he was triple teamed, he
Right.
just felt like he had to get the ball because Stephon Diggs would throw a fit. Now, what I do love about Amari Cooper is that the dude is such a professional, just puts his head down and works hard. Like you never heard a peep out of him, and the Browns were so bad. And so I do think that Josh Allen this year has taken leaps and bounds forward. He hasn't even thrown a pick, an interception this year. I think that's huge. And so you add that discipline, that ball control to an offense and Amari Cooper now, it's going to be a dangerous offense, especially with James Cook behind you. I think you're going to see a way different version of the Bills on offense, and you couple it with that defense, it's going to be good.
I mean, maybe there's stories out there, but it certainly hasn't been like, oh, this is breaking news worthy. You really have not heard him complain, and that is there's something so hard to be said for that because the Browns' offense looks miserable. They look awful. Deshaun Watson loves to hold the ball. It can't go worse. And honestly, I do think he could be very relevant for the league as long as, like you said, Josh Allen just needs to use him for what he is. Okay, he's a really good. He's a little bit older now, but he's a really good wide receiver. Let him be that. You know what I mean? Let him be that. It's funny that an old receiver is younger than both of us, by the way. Isn't that funny? Like
that's so weird.
Yeah, we're looking at where she's like, that guy's old. It's like, oh my God.
What is he, what, 28?
He's like 30, I think.
Oh
and
my.
I'm like, you're a young man. You're the prime of life.
You're a stud.
You're a stud. You are the muscle.
That's
right.
pretty incredible. Wow.
It is incredible. Moving right along. This is going sideways really quickly. It started with our opening. It started with our opening, man.
It started with our opening. It's just sliding.
We were talking about writing ourselves fan notes. It was great. It was if you haven't watched our YouTube, go back and check it out. It's
YouTube
fantastic.
Easter egg, another one. That's 2 Easter eggs to the YouTube. Go check it out, guys. Come on.
That's 2 Easter eggs. The Bears, Big Z. The Bears are on a roll. And to be fair, I just want to be clear here. We never said that Caleb Williams was not going to be a fine quarterback in this league. That we said that this whole time. We said Caleb Williams is going to be fine.
He did.
He's going to be a fine starting quarterback. We just said he wasn't the second coming. He wasn't Patrick Mahomes. That's what we said. Okay, so anybody who wants to come for us will be like, ooh, look, Caleb Williams, and they're 4-2. Like, that's great. Like, we're happy for him. That's awesome.
We are. But remember, like, let's look at the teams he's beat, right? The Jaguars, the Panthers, the Rams, and the Titans. Lost to the Colts and the Texans. So, like, I think at the Commanders this week is going to be a good test for him, especially against Jaden Daniels. I think that's an awesome matchup.
Right.
To begin with, I think it's so cool. Like, such great storylines. But yeah, like you said, dude, like we're not rooting against the guy.
No.
I just think like the Bears, and also like they found their footing a little bit. It's really tough, the first couple of weeks for all NFL teams. Like
Right.
Caleb is figuring it out. DeAndre Swift has like come on the scene again. Like he's doing what DeAndre Swift did, in Philadelphia and Detroit.
Yep.
Um, his weapons are healthy, his receivers are healthy. Like he's doing stuff. Like he's not just turning the ball over, not running around. He's actually looking like an NFL quarterback now. So we're happy for him, but like you just got to keep it up and we got to see it against an actual good team. So this is going to be a good test against the Commanders.
100%, man. And he did against the Jaguars, who are just awful.
Again, though, like if they lost, like he would have heard it. So like you're supposed to win those games. So
Yeah, and he did.
I will give him props
100%.
for that. So
100%.
yeah, he has to win those games, and he shredded them. So good.
He absolutely tore them up, and I
Yeah,
think in this Washington Commanders game, we're gonna get into a little bit, but I think the fact that it's even a good matchup, like that's something we're looking forward to,
yeah,
like in a
that's
couple
awesome.
weeks.
That's so
Like that
telling.
is so great for the NFL. You have
Yeah.
two really good young rookie quarterbacks who
Yes.
everybody's hyped, and it's not even this week. It's not even coming up. It's in 2 weeks, and like everybody's already looking forward to it. Like we're all super excited. I love it. I can't wait for it. It's gonna be great. Um, Colts going back to Richardson, Big C. I
I don't understand it.
do why? Why?
They're 3-3. They've won three out of their last four.
Yep.
I mean, you just see the offense. It's night and day like with Joe Flacco on the field compared to Anthony Richardson. Anthony Richardson I'm sorry, he's just not a starting quarterback in this league. It's not. He can't throw the ball. It's a run first offense with when he's on the field. And with Joe Flacco, like the receivers can eat, like Alec Pierce, Josh Downs, Michael Pittman, and then Jonathan Taylor in the backfield. Like Joe Flacco knows how to utilize his weapons, and those are all really good weapons. Like let them play with the better person on the field, the most talented quarterback in the field, someone who's actually going to feed them the ball. Like Richardson's not that guy. He's not. It's a bad move.
Yeah, I mean, I don't understand. I never understood when he came in this league. We told you, he said, "Hey, man,
Yeah.
he threw 50. He had less than 50%, or right around a 50% completion percentage at Florida, a team that
Yeah.
was sub 500.
Yep.
Like this is not good. And when you add in, I heard the Ballers talking about this. I'm not gonna lie. I looked it up just to make sure, but he's only started 18 games since high school. This is very, very consistent and similar to the Trey Lance deal, where everybody sort of felt like Trey Lance was this exceptional talent and he had movement and he could do it all. And then you kind of looked at what he actually was. It's like he really didn't start many games with the whole COVID thing. He didn't start many games in college. He had a couple good games, couple bright, shiny moments. And like, okay, he's going to be an NFL quarterback. Let's shove him into it. And I was like, wait a minute. This guy does not have any experience required to
Right.
be an NFL quarterback. I mean,
Yeah.
even Caleb Williams started 2 years
Yeah.
at college football. He got to see defenses. He got to read coverages. He got to do those things. And those are necessary. I mean, look at Justin Fields. Justin Fields is still struggling, suffering from only starting 1 year at Ohio State, right? He still is not reading the defenses he needs to be able to read. And that's where a guy like a Brock Purdy, who maybe doesn't get as much love, his ability to read defenses based on the 4 or 5 years that he played in college, that really helps you out. That's why I do believe in a guy like Bo Nix, regardless of how he looks tonight, which we'll get into in a minute. But again, you have to see more than just 12 games in college.
Yeah.
I mean, that's crazy. And to put your franchise in on this, it just doesn't make sense. At this point, I think if you're really serious, if there's an argument to be made, because we heard it, Big Z, we heard the argument when they sat Young down. It's like, hey, this is actually what's best for his development, for him to sit and watch and grow and learn and develop. The Panthers are basically saying, we still want him to be our franchise guy. This is part of that journey. Is we want him to sit back and watch how all this works. So if that's the case for Bryce Young, then it needs to be the case for an Anthony Richardson. Somebody has to be able to have the ability to sit down honestly with this kid and say, listen, you have played a grand total of 4 games in the NFL so far, right? Every time ended in injury. Okay. You can't keep taking hits. You got to be able to throw the ball. We got to start reading defenses. So here's what we're going to do. You're going to sit behind this guy, Joe Flacco. He's going to help you. because Joe Flacco knows this is not his team. He knows he's not the future. He's not competing for some starting job for the next 5 years.
Right.
Joe, train this kid up.
Yep.
Teach him how to be a QB. Teach him how to run defenses. I don't get it. I think they should keep going. But they're really not the only team that we have question marks around. I mean, literally, the Eagles just won? Question mark? Right?
Yeah.
You got
Yeah.
Sirianni yelling at the fans. You got the Eagles barely getting away from a terrible, terrible Browns team. And the one thing the Browns are good at, credit to them, they're really good at stopping the run. If there's anything the Browns can do, they will stop the run. They will stop you from running the ball over them, and that's great. That's a testament to their defensive coach, whatever. But the rest of it, they're in shambles, man. And the Eagles, to me, you just can't have this close of a game. I know they were down some weapons. I know they were down some weapons, but they had AJ Brown back, right? So this cannot be this close. And for Saquon to get bottled up, and in reality, he didn't. Right? Whenever they gave him the ball, good things happened. But they just didn't keep giving him the ball. So if you're an Eagles fan, Biggsy, like, what are you doing with this?
I think you at this point you need to change the coaches. Like I don't think Sirianni is the guy. Like I think it started last year. Like they started out like 6-0 and something, and then they played the 49ers, they got wrecked, and then since then, like you could see the leadership in the locker room just wasn't there. They just don't have a steady presence when it comes to their coaching staff.
Right.
And like the players, him and Jalen Hurts just don't get along. He doesn't get along with the fans now. Like it's just a bad look. I think ever since he actually came into the league as a head coach for the Eagles, ever since his first press conference, something just wasn't right. He just looked like he was in over his head. He just wasn't ready for this moment, and it's pretty apparent now. Like he just has lost the locker room. Like they're not playing for him. The players are not playing. Like they're just playing for maybe the city, maybe for each other. They're definitely not playing for their coach, and so that's a problem when your coach has a vision and your players have another vision, right? And so if I'm the owner, I would have kicked them out last year after they got destroyed by the Bucks in the playoffs in the first round. So I think if you lose this week, especially if it's bad, especially we'll preview it against the Giants, you got to get them out of there. You have to, because this team is so much better than a 20-16 victory over the trash Cleveland Browns. You have Barkley, Brown, Devonta Smith, Goddard, Jalen Hurts. My gosh, that's probably the best weapon set in the entire NFL. It has to be because they're all young.
Right.
They're so much better than a 20-16 victory over the Cleveland Browns. You have to figure something out.
You have to.
Yep.
And it really is. I mean, maybe the Lions, but again, the fact that they are in that discussion, right?
They're there. They're right there. And they're all young. Like it's them and the Lions for sure.
And you know what, dude? If you buy into a vision, if you believe in something, all of a sudden you find yourself like the Commanders, right? You look up and down on that team. Brian Robinson is great. He's not been a slouch for years. I know a lot of people they sleep on that guy, Brian Robinson Jr. for whatever reason. They don't think he's a legitimate running back. Eckler looks fantastic. He looks like he's enjoying every bit of that tandem backfield, that he doesn't have to be the guy. He doesn't have to carry everything on his shoulders, which is also fantastic. And they do have a good receiver, one in McLaurin. But outside of that, they sort of have Zach Ertz, who's, I think we can all agree is past his prime. And then they have this really good quarterback, Jaden Daniels, who's certainly playing like an MVP. And I was impressed. I know they lost against the Ravens, but I was extremely impressed they could go in there with limited weapons and give the Ravens a real ball game. And let's be honest, this is not the same Ravens team that lost to the Raiders, right? This is a new Ravens team. This Ravens team has matured. They've grown. I know that was just a couple weeks ago, but that's how quickly things happen in the NFL, right? It's week to week. Every game is different, and this Ravens team is obviously doing big things. I mean, they had just gotten done just beating the Bills to a pulp. I mean, to an absolute pulp. So for this kid to come in to Baltimore and lose by only a touchdown, extremely impressed on my end, Big Z.
He looked super mature. I mean, I don't know if you saw some of the touchdown passes to McLaurin. I mean, the dude is he is not scared of the moment. And that's what I love about him. Like we've talked about it. The guy played in such big games in college. Like I don't think this stuff phases him. And a lot of people probably had the Ravens just destroying the Commanders coming into this game. But I think I know there's no such thing as was it a mental victory or what? I don't know. What's the saying?
I know what you're trying to say, but I can't. Moral victory?
Moral victory. Yeah, not mental. A moral victory. Thank you.
There you go. Nailed it.
Day. There's not such thing as a moral victory when you have the loss, but like I think that it can kind of apply here. Like, yeah, you lost, but you only lost by a touchdown to a quarterback who is really, really good against NFC teams, especially in Baltimore. And so you keep your head high, hold your head up after that game, and just do what you need to do next week. Like this guy is going to be, I think, the best quarterback out of that draft class, Jaden Daniels.
Oh, we said it all year. We said it before the year. I 100% agree. And if you're a Cowboy fan, an Eagle fan, or a Giant fan, you should be very, very concerned
For
at
years to
what's
come.
happening in Washington because for years to come, they have found their franchise QB. As long as he keeps sliding, as long as he keeps avoiding big hits, he is going to be very successful in this league for a long, long time. Somebody else who certainly looks good at this time, the Lions make a massive statement
Oh,
against the Cowboys. I mean, at one point, I mean, they're throwing to offensive linemen.
I know.
They're literally, it was a direct callback to last year's game, and they did not lift their foot. I mean, I think they were up by 3 touchdowns when they ran a flea flicker.
Yeah.
It was like, wow. So you guys are you're going for the jugular here. You are trying to embarrass the Cowboys, and they did. Mission accomplished. Well done. I think the Cowboy, even Jason, Mr. I believe in the Cowboys, was reeling again after that one. He's like, oh, maybe we're not. I mean, he said for the first time ever, he still believes they're going to make the playoffs. Let me start right there. Big Jason, if you're listening, I know you still believe they're going to make the playoffs.
Oh my
But
God.
he said for the first time ever, man, it'd be really tough to see us not making the playoffs with all the weapons we have. And it's like, hey, man, at least you could see there's a possibility, there's a world in which the Cowboys miss the playoffs based off of performances like this. Because the Lions are certainly good. They are good. Don't get me wrong, they're great. But to be embarrassed like this was at home
again.
a whole other level. A whole other level, Big Z.
Yeah, I mean, it's just very apparent. It's like a tale of two different teams at this point. Like from that matchup last year, where the Lions have ascended to and where the Cowboys have descended to, like it's just night and day. Like the journeys that those two teams have gone on. I mean, it was very telling on Monday morning when Jerry Jones went on the radio, like to his weekly show,
Yep.
and they're just asking him like, "Hey man, like what happened? Like you're supposed to go all in this offseason, like you said it." And he's like, "That's not your job to judge me." And like, I'm gonna go to another show if you keep asking me like those types of questions. I'm serious, blah blah. And like, actually, it is their job. Like they're the
And it's
radio
not
hosts. Like they're supposed to ask you, and that's not even a tough. That's an honest question. Like,
right.
dude, you said you're gonna go all in, and you just lost at home by 38 points to the Lions, a team that you thought you were right on par with. Like you should answer to the fans. You are the GM. You are the owner. Like you
Right.
got to answer to someone. And like it's pretty telling, man. Like I don't know. CeeDee Lamb doesn't look happy. Dak Prescott just doesn't look good over there. And I would not want any part of being a fan of the Cowboys right now.
No, 100%. It wasn't a hardball question. It wasn't a difficult question.
No,
It
it
was a
was.
tricky question. It
It
was
wasn't.
very straight up. And the fact that you just got demolished, you just got absolutely demolished by a Lions team who is good. I'm not going to take that away from them. Looking on now, wait, this week, Big Z, to week numero 7. I mean, this NFL season is flying by. This is the problem with the NFL. We're already in week 7.
I know.
It comes and goes, man. It comes and goes. We just had a really probably the worst of the Thursday night games for a while. Like the last
Yeah.
few have been really, really good. We've been spoiled. Came back down to earth a little bit. The Broncos just decimate the Saints in every way, defensively. And then, Bo Nix, I'm looking at a stat line. I'm like, dude, what happened tonight? But they didn't really have to throw the ball. I mean, granted, there was a couple passes that Bo Nix needs to make. There's obviously some maturity that needs to happen on his part. But
But
I mean,
got the W.
they didn't need to throw the ball. They didn't need
Right.
to throw the ball. Also, he's sort of in that category with me right now as like a Jaden Daniels. Like, except I think Jaden Daniels even has more. Like, you look at the Broncos offense. When I watch this Broncos offense, I'm not gonna lie. I'm like, who is he? Who are his weapons? Like, we can sit here and talk Bo Nix. I'm not gonna sit here and say he doesn't make bad throws. He makes bad throws. But even when he makes good throws, like I saw easily, I counted just
Sutton?
watching this game. There was 3 drops. Yeah, Sutton. Like that's it.
Yeah.
Like you got Sutton, right? And so Javonte,
Javonte Williams.
he's supposed to be good. He's supposed to be good. This was his best game, but he still hasn't risen to the occasion of being
Right.
an elite running back. I just strictly talking about weapons. It's really easy to poop all over Bo Nix. I'm sure when I wake up tomorrow and I start listening to podcasts, everyone's going to talk about how miserable Bo Nix was on this night. But even when he did hit receivers, they were dropped, right?
Right.
And so it's one of these. They are getting wins because of their defense, but this whole team. I mean, I don't know if Sean Payton what he can really do, but at some point they got to ride the ship on offense. right? They looked a
Right.
lot better last week. I will say that.
They're, I mean, they are in a tough spot, like when it comes to the cap, just because they have so much dead money that they owe Russell Wilson, like
Right.
65 million for like the next 2 years per season. So it's like 130. So
Ugh.
it's going to be hard to put weapons around him. But like, look, you look at the other side. Like, let's look at the glass half full here. Like, Bo Nix did not turn the ball over. Bo
Right.
Nix had 77 rushing yards. Bo Nix had a pretty efficient night passing. Besides, just didn't have any touchdowns. But like again, he didn't have to pass the ball. He didn't have to pass in the red zone.
Right.
Like Javonte Williams got his touchdown, and he won the game for them. They won 33-10 on the road in a really hard environment. So like, if
Yeah.
people want to poo poo on it, like it's like, what's what's the result that everyone looks for at the end of the day? Wins, W's. Did you turn the ball over? Did you not? These are the things that Bo Nix is actually growing as a player. Like yeah, he's missing some throws, but who doesn't miss throw? Everyone misses
Right.
throws. Like he's getting the W. They're 4-3. They're doing a lot better than a lot of people said that they would before the season. No one would say after 7 games that they're above 500. So I think that he's playing great, man. I really do.
I mean, even the throws, I know I can think of a couple throws that he made that, defender dropped, but it's like defenders always drop balls. That's going to happen. But the
Yes,
reality situation, he is growing. Like you said, the
he
biggest
is.
thing was they got the W. He didn't make any really, really, really dumb decisions. Maybe one that I could think of,
Yeah,
but that's going to
everyone.
happen. That's going to happen.
It's the
You
NFL,
saw it.
man. It's the
You saw it in Caleb against the Jaguars. As well as he
yes,
finished, that first drive was pretty terrible. So
right. It's the
again,
NFL.
they're all growing.
You're
They're
playing
all
against
growing.
hard
Yep.
team. Like everyone's good.
Yep.
Every single defense has great players on it. Like these are the best football players in the world. Like it's gonna happen. Like
I
he's
will
growing.
say, I will say too, on the other side of the ball, there is some promise in Spencer Rattler. I know
Yeah.
they didn't look great tonight, but again, he was sort of victim of the same thing. No Shaheed, no Olave. Literally, they rolled out there with just Kamara. Like he didn't have
Yeah.
anyone to throw to. And he still, he was zinging the ball around there. He got sacked a lot. He took a
Yep.
few hits because he was waiting for his guys to separate. And let's be honest, I think a lot of these quarterbacks, South Carolina, I'm not going to say is like this plethora of talent, but I do think when you go to like an more elite school, because they do play, like, let's not forget, all of these colleges, regardless of how good you are, at some point they play like North Illinois State or whatever it is, like they
Yeah.
play these teams. And
Yeah.
so they're used to their receivers on some level getting some separation. And that was not happening for the Saints tonight. I think he's like,
No.
oh God, when do I actually throw this? And obviously his first start wasn't what he hoped. But he made some good throws. So shout
He
out to
did.
him.
Yeah.
Shout out to him.
Yeah.
Um, other news, Big Z, dude, the battle of the absolute bads, bro. What I mean, this is sort of a slap in the face to England. I'm not gonna lie, England. If you're listening, I don't know why you agreed to this one, but we got it. I've been here for all the really funny memes that are saying like loser doesn't come home. Patriots and Jaguars, the battle of the bads, the 1-5s. Both these teams, you could call it must win because I guess going to 1-6 is worse than 1-5. But I mean, really, both these teams, if not for this year, just for next year, you got to start riding the ship. And I think the Patriots are like, they at least have Drake May look decent. He looked competent last week.
Yeah.
So there's some promise there.
I'm if I'm an English fan, like I'm like, look, I'm excited to see the number 3 overall draft pick in Drake May. He had 3 touchdown passes against the Texans. Like that is not a slouch defense like his first career start. I think that this is his chance. Like, look, all you doubted me. Every single person, even the Brevity boys doubted me. And so
Facts.
I'm going to go in and I'm going to shred the Jacksonville Jaguars defense because they have a terrible defense. And he's going to put on a show. I honestly think it's going to be a blowout. I think they're going to put up 35 plus points and they're going to just destroy the Jacksonville Jaguars. On the flip side, like, yeah, maybe they don't stay there, but like you got to fire Doug Peterson if you lose this game. Like,
I mean, when your head coach comes out and says, when he literally comes out and says there needs to be a culture shift, and we need a change in culture, it's like,
I
so
need to fire myself.
are
Is what
you
you said.
are you telling me that you want to like fight? Like exactly, like you are the culture creator. That's your job.
I'm going to
It's like,
volunteer to step down after this
like
game.
this is the one thing that you actually have to do. You know what I mean? And I love your prediction because I got Ramondre Stevenson in a few leagues. So if they do that well, then Ramondre has a huge game.
And
So
play Ramondre Stevenson. Like,
yeah,
stop
dude.
with this. Like, if he fumbles, like everyone fumbles, everyone draws passes.
Well, I think
This is
now
the
there's no
NFL.
doubt. I think now there can be no question because Antonio Gibson had the rock. They had
Yeah.
Antonio Gibson and their other running back, their other backup. in there. And they, I mean, Antonio, dude, he looked terrible.
Yeah,
He doesn't run north and
come
south.
on.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing as when Brian Robinson Jr. showed up in Washington, there was like, oh, it's still Gibson's team. It was like, no, it's not. And the reason it wasn't was because Brian Robinson knows how to run north and south.
Right.
Ramondre Stevenson knows how to run north and south. Gibson does not. And you
Nope.
see it and it looks bad. So get Ramondre, especially if you got a rookie quarterback back there, man. Get Ramondre back there so he has a good safety net to get him the ball. Shout out to you, Drake. I still look. Also, by the way, a little caveat for us: the reason we did not like the pick is we did not think the Patriots are ready for Drake May. It's not necessarily that Drake May. I will be clear. I still would not have taken him over Michael Penix based on what I watched in college. I'm not backing down from that stance. But the other reason, the bit much larger reason I hated the pick was that I did not think, and I do not think the Patriots are ready for a franchise quarterback.
They still have the team.
It's one thing to find, and I get it. If you have an opportunity to find him, you find him. The issue is if you can't keep him healthy, if you can't keep him up, and you can't keep him happy, it's not going to work out. We've already seen. Listen, do you really think that Bryce Young has always been this bad at football? No, there's no way. We see busts. What happens? Sometimes it is the kid's fault. Sometimes we hear about like a Johnny Football who never studied film. Sometimes that is the case. As far as I know, that wasn't the case with Bryce Young. If you are a really bad team and you don't have an offense, you can break these kids mentally. Yeah. And there may not be any coming back from that. So that was more our concern is, are you ready? Are you making the moves to put yourself in a position to have that franchise quarterback that will take you to the next level? Falcons and Seattle. This is going to be a good one, Big Z.
Shootout.
We got the Seahawks 3-3, chasing the Niners, who are also 3-3, giving my Rams some hope at 1-4. We're only 3 games back. And then the Falcons, obviously they figured some things out. Drake London looks absolutely fantastic. Yeah. Looks electric. Kyle Pitts, it looks meh, but he looks good enough under Drake London and Darnell Mooney. You know what? I don't think he's as good as everybody thought he was, but I think he is a good
He's serviceable for sure.
I think he's a good fourth option. I think if you're throwing the ball to Mooney, you're throwing the ball to London, and you're throwing the ball to Bijan, you're going to be fine if, when all those fail, get it to Pitts. I think 100%. That's fine.
Yeah, just utilize him in the red zone. I think utilize that for he's a beast. That's where you need to pass to him. Yeah, you know.
Yep.
He's still athletic enough.
Yep.
I think this game is gonna be fun. I think it's the second highest over under total points of the league for the week. So I think that there's just gonna be a lot of points scored, a shootout. It's in Atlanta. So dome, there's no weather involved. If you guys have any fantasy players, I would play both sides here because it's just going to be a fun shootout. I think the Falcons take it, but it's going to be good.
I think the Seahawks are going to put up a good fight. I did take the Falcons to roll in our Pick'em league, but I do think the Seahawks are going to put up a game. I think the biggest issue with the Seahawks right now, and this is going to be a hot take, Big Z, I'm warning you right now. Click it, document it, save the timestamp because this is for sure going on Instagram for people to roast me. I think building your team around DK Metcalf is a mistake. I think at this point, it's time for the Seahawks to accept that DK Metcalf, although he's an elite runner, he's fast, he's big, he's strong, he has fumbled the football in large situations. And it's one thing when you're a running back carrying the rock 22 times or whatever it is, and every once in a while somebody punches it out. I get it.
Yeah.
As a receiver, there's been multiple games this year where they're on a big drive. Somebody comes and he just has no ball security because he's so concerned on making the next move. Now, would I be saying this if there were not the other weapons around him? Please hear this whole statement. Listen, JSN is a legitimate talent. His ability to separate, his speed, the way he looks when he's running routes, he looks fantastic. And then the real reason I believe this, Kenneth Walker is your dude. This is the guy. This is who your offense needs to flow through. This is the guy that's going to make everything tick. He's one of a kind, and he's easily one of the best running backs in this league. So if the Seahawks are actually looking to progress and to challenge the Niners for this division and to make a playoff push, I firmly believe there needs to be a shift. DK Metcalf, keep him as your deep threat, keep him as an option, build your offense around Kenneth Walker.
Yep.
And get with the receivers, whoever's open. There is no alpha. There is no elite. If you're open, I'm going to get you the ball. I think Geno has done a pretty good job of that, but it does seem like sometimes he gets himself into trouble because he's trying to force the ball to DK Metcalf, and then you see on the sideline DK Metcalf going full send. Bill Stephon Diggs. I'm not going to say Houston Stephon Diggs because apparently Houston Stephon Diggs is on board with anything, and he's super cool and a great teammate. But he's going full send Bill's Stephon Diggs, and he's getting mad and he's getting riled up, talking to Geno Smith, yelling at Geno Smith, get me the ball. So I just think Geno Smith, you got to stay strong, right? Get the
Right.
ball at the open man. Build your offense around Kenneth Walker. Love to see it. Another big one, Big Z. Texans, Packers. This is
Mm,
huge.
that's huge, man.
You got the Texans in first place. A lot of people doubting. A lot of people hating on the way they've been winning recently. Oh, they escaped. They have a weaker division. This is sort of a scare game for them. Texans need to take this one seriously because again, they are going to be playing a very hungry Green Bay
Yep.
Packers team. Minnesota Vikings 5-0. Detroit Lions 4-1. Green Bay finds himself in third place in their division at 4-2. They're in a really good division. They need to be winning games, Big Z.
They do like this is. I mean, if you're Jordan Love in this moment, like this is your moment. Like you have CJ Stroud coming in, potential MVP candidate. You're at home, I believe. Yeah, you're at home, and yeah, you just have to kind of take the bull by the horns and just go with it. Like you had a great season thus far. Got really lucky by not getting a season-ending injury. But yeah, you gotta show the world that you are this good, that you do deserve that huge contract, and all that money. So if I'm the Texans, you're right, man. Like you want to shut people up because, like I said, like people just think it's a weak division, and they're not really having any quality wins. And so like here's your time. So like I think it's a big prove it game for both sides.
100%, dude. Another game where both sides are going to have to prove it. Lions and Vikings. The Vikings defense is vaunted. They
I
are
know.
the best defense in the league. They are legit. They are real. And the Lions just got done embarrassing the Cowboys. So we are going, this is a classic matchup. Ultimate offense against ultimate defense. And again, the Lions are going there without their star, their stud, Hutchinson. You got to think that does hurt them. And this is obviously the Vikings are in first place, 5-0. The Lions want to put an end to that. This is going to be a good one. This is going to be a real, real good game.
I'm excited to see Goff. I'm excited to see what Goff does against that defense.
Yeah, 100%.
I really like. Again, Goff has played really well in this line offense, but he hasn't really been challenged yet, in my opinion. And Minnesota, I would say, probably has the top 3 defense in this league, and especially the fact that it's in Minnesota. That's a tough environment to play. So I'm really excited and intrigued to see what Goff does. On the flip side, Minnesota just has to play within their system, play within themselves, not do too much. Darnold, just do what you need to do. Ball security, throw it to the guys that can get you touchdowns, get you first downs, whatever that is. But don't force it. Don't be Sam Darnold of the Jets. Like just be Sam Darnold of the Minnesota Vikings, and I think they're going to be fine.
They're going to be totally fine, dude. You got to stay inside yourself, man. You got to do what you could do.
Exactly. Don't force anything. Don't.
Hey, hopefully they
it's
learn
a big
as
game.
kids.
I think this is like
as kids, man. Like I tell Jaden all the time, we're out there on the baseball field. He's like, "Yeah, I gotta strike this kid out." I'm like, "You don't. Just you got a defense behind you. Just don't give the homer. We'll be all right.
Yeah, just throw a good pitch.
Just throw a good pitch, man. If you're the Vikings, throw a good pitch. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Exactly.
Just do it. Just get it. Get after it. Get after it. Eagles, Giants again. We just talked about it. Eagles. This is proven time. You barely got by the Browns. You squeaked by. Your coach is talking mess. Nobody knows who you are. This is a big game. I think the Eagles, their desire should be this game because the Giants have a good defense. The Giants have a good defense. If you're the Eagles, you should want to stomp out this Giants team. I don't think beating them is enough to reset your season. I think you want to stomp them out.
Yeah, this is a big game, man. Like I said, if they lose this game, you have to fire Sirianni.
Yeah.
You have to. I think Daniel Jones, he's tied for the most NFL history, most consecutive games of having 0 touchdowns and 1 interception, like consecutively. Like Daniel Jones is he's not playing a terrible year, but he's also not playing great football either. It's just like he's just mid-average quarterback. They're winning in spite of him because of their defense. Like they have the most sacks in the league. Yep. That's like a defense that is carrying a team when you talk about defensive carrying a team. So, but again, the Giants are they're not going to bend over to this Eagles team. It's in New York, right? And these divisional games, the Giants always play these teams tough, and they give the Cowboys a run for their money. I don't think the Eagles go in there and slaughter them. I think it's going to be a 1-possession game. I
think it's going to be close, but I think the Eagles should slaughter them. I think if you are the Eagles, that should be your goal.
They should, but I don't know. I just don't think they
Yeah.
will. Again, I don't think Sirianni has his guys in the right mindset. He doesn't.
Biggest matchup of the week, Big Z. Take me through it. You're a big Niner guy. You're gonna have your chain
Oh,
on.
I want to
You're gonna be sitting
kill.
in your
I
car
want to
saying
kill the Kansas City
bang,
Chiefs.
bang, Niner gang. You're gonna be doing the whole thing. You're gonna be decked out in red. You're gonna avoid certain parts of Long Beach. It's gonna be great. Talk to me, dude. You got the Niners, you got the Chiefs.
You know, there's a huge Niner bar in Long Beach, actually.
Really?
Huge one. Yeah. I've gone there for a playoff game. It's pretty dope. Yeah, but yeah, man, like this is the game that we've all, as Niner fans, we've all circled like since like this schedule came out. I mean, the Niners are really playing it off like, oh, it's just another game. You know, Patrick Mahomes is great, Chiefs are great, blah, 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 blah. But like, come on.
Dude,
Like
tell
show
me
me some
the
fire. Show me some like I want them to go out, win by 2+ touchdowns. They're at home. This is the perfect opportunity. You don't have to play an Arrowhead. Like you're in a safe environment. Let's just go out, Purdy, do your thing. Ayuk needs to wake the heck up because he hasn't all season long. Show me why you deserve your $30 million per season because you're just a diva right now. And defensively, they need to wake up too because defensively, they have not been what they should be. And this is the week to do it. I hope revenge wakes him up.
I hope revenge wakes him up. Yeah, it's just another game. Tell it to Fred Warner and his dartboard. I have no doubt that if you walked into Fred Warner's house right now, there's a dartboard somewhere with Patrick Mahomes saying, I'm here. And Fred Warner just has like a million dart holes in it. There's no
Yep.
doubt in my mind. I'm a little bit nervous for the Niners only because you guys have some injuries, but I will say so do the Chiefs. I'll also say I believe in Brock Purdy. I think if he plays his game, he's going to give you a chance to win. He's certainly going to give you a chance to compete. Regardless, I will be watching. It's going to be fun. Big Z, we play a silly game, a dumb game, a game that honestly takes way too much of our time because we don't have time. It's called fantasy football. Don't know if you heard of it.
Yes.
I'm sure the people out there, some of them haven't heard of it. I don't know. Canada,
No, no.
is fantasy football huge there? It's got to be huge, right?
I think so. I
It's gotta be
think.
big. Canada. Our
Yeah.
Canada
Yeah.
followers. Hey, we're talking to
Yeah.
you. We
Yeah.
need you to comment on something. Find us on
Please.
Instagram. Find us on YouTube. Tell us, is fantasy football as big in Canada as it is in the United States? Listen, talking fantasy football. Last year we came at you with some press buy. Last week we came with you with some press buys. We did the kind of a whole season thing just to catch it up because we hadn't done it for the first couple of weeks. So we mentioned Nico and Saquon. That was for like a whole year. Like we were so surprised how good these guys have done. But from now on, we will be going basically week to week. Guys that we're
Yeah.
impressed by, guys that we think maybe can give you a big week, whatever it is. Guys, this is a positive category. Guys we're impressed by. For me, Big Z, Brock Bowers, especially the fact that Devontae Adams is gone. He's all they got. Okay, Brock Bowers is all you got. He is going to be the tight end number one on this
Yes.
on the season. I'm so impressed by this kid. His ability to learn the offense. We've all heard it before. Tight end is one of the most difficult positions, the hardest position to get in and learn coming into the NFL. It's harder because you have to learn both things. You have to
Yeah.
learn the blocking schemes. You have to learn the passing schemes. You're involved in every play in the offense, unlike anything else that you will see. I guess
So
maybe
physical too.
I
You
guess
get
maybe
beat
the
up.
linebacker or something. I don't know. But yeah, so physical,
Yeah.
tight end. He's done it. He's learned. I'm very impressed by this kid, Big Z.
I agree with you. I'm biased towards this guy because he's on my dynasty team. I love him. I think that's a great point that
I
you
love him.
made that with Devontae Adams leaving town. I think that's like it's going to open up so much more for him. And he's already like I think he's tied in 2 on the year already
Oh
in
yeah,
fantasy.
he's a dog.
And so oh yeah, he just needs some more touchdowns. So it's going to open up red zone opportunities for him. My guy is Terry McLaurin. I think that a lot of people thought he was washed up, but he's never had a good quarterback. And now that he does, like he is just flourishing with Jaden Daniels,
Yep.
As quarterback. And he's just finally able to do what he needs to do. Just go down the field and the quarterback is going to find you. Because he's such a good route runner. He's such an explosive route runner.
Yep.
And he has great hands and great feet. And so he did super well for me last week. He had 2 touchdowns against a really good Ravens defense on the road. And so that was my play of the week for sure. So I think going forward, Terry McLaurin's a definite play every single week.
You heard it here first. Big Z is a foot guy. Moving right along. Is there anybody that you've been hurt by, Big Z? For me, dude, I was wounded this week by my boy, and I love him so much. I'm not trading him. He's my guy. Mike Evans, it was one of those situations where you can't even blame the guy.
Yeah.
There's nothing worse in fantasy football than you're starting somebody and the first play of the game you see him take a hard shot or they go down weird like Mike Evans and it's like, "Oh no." And they just don't look right the rest of the way. It's like who knows if they could have had a big game? Who knows if they could have been what they were supposed to
Right.
be? But because they got a little bit, they ate it a little bit, all of a sudden their day is going to suck. That's what happened to me. I was wounded, Big Z. Were you wounded by anybody?
I was wounded, man. Darnell Mooney, bro. So I'll tell you
Oof.
this. So
Oof.
I had him 2 weeks ago and I dropped him because I needed to find this is in my redraft league. And
Okay.
because I need to find a roster spot. Dude goes off for 31 points and I dropped him. And I was like, oh my gosh. So like I picked him back up.
Got him back.
I used 50 fab on him. Okay.
Wow.
And then I put him in my starting lineup. He gets 6 points against the Panthers. And I lost the game. I lost that matchup. And so he is the one who let me down. I do think he's gonna have a bounce back game against Seattle. He's good. Like I'm not gonna drop him again. But yeah, it's been a rough roller coaster ride for me and Darnell Mooney this year for sure in that league.
Heartbreak City, dude.
Heartbreak City,
Heartbreak
bro.
City. Hurt.
Yeah.
Wounded. Shattered my boy's heart. Unlike Haley. Haley said yes. She's still there. They're
You
married.
did. You
Cute
did.
story. If you
Thank
haven't heard
goodness.
that love story, go back 2 weeks ago on our YouTube. Again, third
Third
time.
Easter
Third
egg
time Easter
for you.
egg. Go look at our freaking YouTube. It's called Brevity Sports.
Please
Go give us a follow.
subscribe.
Go subscribe. I don't know what else I
Like
got
some
to
stuff,
do.
please. Help us.
Listen, they call us the outliers. No one actually calls us that, and this is brevity. We never keep it brevity, but we are the outliers. All right, we are the non-experts. That is what we are. We're here for you. We're here for the people. We're here to tell you we disagree with almost everyone. I think I've listened to one podcast that agreed with us, but every other podcast that I've listened to has said that Garrett Wilson is in trouble. In fact, the Ballers and Andy came out and were said he doesn't even understand how anyone could possibly put a positive twist on this when Garrett's whole thing has been volume. And for me, I say, how can you say that after just a week before talking about the fact that Garrett Wilson is not a true blue alpha? I actually agree with that. I think he
Yep.
can be. I think there's a world in which he grows into it. Maybe he puts on a bit more muscle. Maybe he works on his footwork a little bit, works on his separation a little bit, or just quite frankly gets a quarterback who doesn't hate whenever he's not able to read his mind. Because that's really what it
Right.
seems like sometimes with Aaron Rodgers. Aaron
Seriously.
Rodgers, like, you did not read my mind, and I'm mad at you. Period.
I'm
Done.
not going to throw to you for
Aaron
four
Rodgers
quarters.
is like the most upset ex-girlfriend you've ever had,
Oh
but
yeah, bro.
she's so crazy that you let her back in, but then you're like, no, you're too crazy. You try to stab me with scissors, get out. But then it's just like this really weird love thing going on with him. Like sometimes they're high-fiving, it's like, yeah, Garrett Wilson. Other times Aaron Rodgers giving him death stares, like, how did you not read my mind? But regardless,
It's
listen,
true. It's facts.
if you're gonna say that Garrett Wilson is not a number one wide receiver, that's great. I'm there. Like, he's probably not a number one tier fantasy football wide receiver at this moment in time, which means bringing on a Devontae Adams is going to take away those double teams. You are no longer going to
Yes.
be able to double team Garrett Wilson. You're no longer going to be able to commit two safeties or a safety over the top to Garrett Wilson. You're going to have help on Devontae Adams. All of a sudden, their weapons start to look a little bit better. You can't just leave Lazard on an island. He's shown that he can do some damage. Of course, they have Breece Hall. He's shown he can do all the damage. So to me, even if he does take a few less targets, I think the value of those targets is going to go up because he's going to inevitably have more space.
I when I saw this trade, when I saw Devontae Adams go there, I was like, oh, this is great for Garrett Wilson. This is going to elevate his whole season, his whole game. Like right away. I was like, if any, like you specifically have him in our league.
Yep.
I was like, oh, Fredo's going to, oh my God, he's going to reap the benefits of this because, like you said, there is no more doubling him. Like,
Nope.
and Aaron Rodgers is still a good enough quarterback to go the other way and look away from Devontae Adams and find Garrett Wilson wide open down the field. It's going to happen. He's not going to get the best cornerback anymore. He's going to get the second string cornerback or the second worst cornerback on the league. And he's good enough. He's like a 1B, right? He's not a 1A, but he's definitely a 1B on that team. And you have Devontae and him. Oh my, like I don't understand why people are just jumping off the Garrett Wilson train.
The name that comes to mind
Yeah.
in this is Devontae Smith. Devontae Smith if he does not have AJ Brown, we're not even talking about him.
Right.
No one knows who he is. And I'm not saying he's not talented. He's very talented. Devontae Smith is a very talented wide receiver.
It's not a 1A.
He's not a 1A.
Yeah.
Devontae Smith needs somebody. You saw what happened the 1 week he didn't have him. He almost died. The Saints literally pulled, like, he's so small that the Saints held him up and then took him down, right? Like, he needs somebody else to take that heat off. He needs it. He has to have it. Gary Wilson, for right now, I don't see him as small as Devontae Smith, but I do think it's going to open up space for him. I love it. We disagree with the experts on that one. Big Z, MLB, our thing, Big Z. Oh my God. I have watched so much MLB on one
my
screen.
Heart rate, man. My heart rate.
On one screen, I'm watching the Dodgers. On the other screen, I'm watching the freaking Cleveland Guardians walk it off in massive fashion, Big Z. You watching these games?
Yeah, man. It's playoff baseball is something else. Like we talk about playoff hockey, but playoff baseball, like even for the Guardian games today, it's like you're feeling it in your body. Like you're stressed out for those fans. Like this is the roller coaster that they went through, like top of the eighth, up by 2. They bring in Class A and he blows it. And like they're down their final strike. And then freaking Noel, man, just freaking ties it. Like it's just, you talk about a romantic game. Like this, how can you not be romantic about baseball? Yeah, Billy Bean said it.
Billy Bean. We love Moneyball.
It's a great question. And can't answer it. It's like, yeah, how can it? I don't know. Like you just are. It's I just the further the Dodgers get in, go and I'm like, oh my gosh, bro. I forget. Like my freaking blood pressure is just like out of whack, man. It's crazy. Like I forget because like they've been eliminated so early in the past few years. And so it's nice that we've had some blowouts this series. 3 of them, the 3 wins have been blowouts. It was just great for my health. And I think yours too. But even then tonight we're up by 5 and his base is loaded for the Mets. And I'm like, oh my God, we're gonna pull. This is it.
Danielle walks in, right? My wife walks in and I'm holding a pillow and I'm like squeezing the life. But if this pillow was alive, I squeezed the head off. Like I squeezed it so hard, the head it's dead. The pillow's dead. I murdered the pillow. As Danielle's like, she walks in expecting to turn the corner and see like 3-2, or the Dodgers are down by 1, and she turns the corner and she's like, wait, are the Dodgers winning by 5 runs? I was like, yeah. She's like, so even if this guy hit a grand slam, it wouldn't be tied. I was like, no. She said, well, what's wrong with you? I'm like, it's the Dodgers, all right? You don't know what it's like, okay, to just be so close and get nothing, okay? You don't know what it's like, all right? It's like, it was the equivalent of, dude, I remember watching the Kings back in 2012, the first time they ever won a Stanley Cup. And there's a picture of me holding like my hands up. It's still on my Facebook like this. And they were up by like 5 goals. And in hockey, that's way bigger than baseball, okay? Because in baseball, being up five runs, like the other team is going to get to hit no matter what. In hockey, being up 5 goals with like 2 minutes left, you did it, right? But like I'm sitting there like literally doing the same thing. Like I'm tearing my buddy's pillow. Like I've torn this pillow. I told him I'm going to buy you a new pillow. Don't worry about it. So just basically what I'm saying is, if there's a close game, keep me away from pillows. Anyway, so I'm tearing this pillow. She's like, babe, what's wrong? Like there's only like they're up by 5. And I was like, shut up. You don't know. You do not know what it is to be a Kings fan. You don't know. You don't know. And I don't think I told her shut up, obviously, but I'm exaggerating. But you don't know because I watched it. I watched as a Kings fan year after year us get there and get nothing. And I never expected us to actually win the Stanley Cup. So when they did it against the Devils, it was like, oh my God, this is insane. And so for me, it's exactly like I have watched. Okay, I've watched us get cheated by the Astros when we had the Magic. The one time I really felt like we had the Magic, I watched us get cheated by the Astros. And then I watched us get rolled by a team who had all the Magic in the Red Sox. And then I watched us get rolled by a team who had all the Magic in the world in the Nationals. Then I watched a team that roll us and like obliterate all their own Magic because they partied way too hard after they beat us in the Padres. And then the Diamondbacks. And I've watched all these other teams have this Magic. And I told us before the playoffs even started, everyone's like, dude, we don't have the starting pitching. I'm like, dude, we don't need the starting pitching. For years, we've had the starting pitching. What we need is the Magic. And I feel like we got it right now. And I'm terrified. I'm terrified, Big Z, that the baseball
because like you actually
magician God will pull it.
Do they have it? Do they have that magic that we've been looking for so long? Dude, like, and then you start to believe. Like now they're making us believe. Especially after tonight, I was like, Oh yeah.
When you're seeing guys like
Oh yeah.
Tommy Edmond, when you're seeing guys like Tommy Edmond and Kike Hernandez and Gavin Lux and even Chris Taylor's getting on base. Stop it. Like when
Bro,
you're
Chris
seeing these
Taylor
guys,
made such a sick play in the ninth inning tonight. I know, like we're up by
oh yeah,
8, but I was like, oh my gosh, like, bro, my proudest moment, dude. Lil Oliver is freaking naming off guys. He's naming off Tommy Edmond. He's like Edmond, Muncy, Lux. And I'm
he may
like,
not know mommy and daddy
oh
yet, but he has got
my
his Dodgers
gosh.
down. I'm just kidding.
Like now he's at the point because it's just constantly on.
Yeah.
Now he just sits with us and watches it, and it was
Oh yeah.
like he cheers for the Dodgers specifically. It is so great.
Oh dude. So
Yeah,
I took my boys like total moment, total what's the word when you get to a goal, when you get to a checkpoint, when you get to a
completion.
no, like when
You
it's
completed
dude,
the
why can't we think of words tonight, dude? This is terrible.
you completed the
Like a benchmark of
a
parenting.
benchmark
There's another word. I don't know. It
uh
doesn't matter. It was a moment.
objective.
No, it was a moment for me and my boys taking them to their first playoff game. They were so hyped. They were so fired up. It was amazing. It was a really cool moment. And like
Bucket
you're
list.
saying,
Bucket list.
yeah, bucket list. Let's go with that. I don't even
Yeah.
know what word to put. So, but the point is, it was amazing. It was amazing watching these kids. Like I thought they were gonna like, oh, dad, we got to pee. Oh, dad, I want popcorn. Oh, dad, no, no. They were so locked in on the game. They were so locked in on everything happening.
Yeah.
Like it was
That was actually a
beautiful
good
to watch.
game. The Dodgers had their chances, that's for sure. So
Oh
like
yeah, no,
so like you
yeah,
had those moments
yep.
of like everyone standing with the
Oh
rally
yeah,
towels
multiple
multiple
times,
times.
multiple
Like you
times.
had that playoff
Yep.
feel, which
Oh
is cool.
yeah.
Because at first I was like, oh man.
Oh, even the last
But
inning, they're down.
yeah,
They're still down by 5. 2 runners get on, no outs. Like, oh my gosh, we could if these two guys score, all of a sudden, hey, we're only down by 3,
right,
right?
exactly.
And then we're right back in it. There are some other series going on. Big Z, Yankees and Guardians. We just talked about it. So first round, you won. You took the Mets, you took the Guardians, and you took the Dodgers. I only got 2 right. I took the Dodgers and I took the Yankees. So those are the only 2 I got right. Big Z, we got to make our picks. I know they're already happening, but we didn't get a chance to make our picks before they started. Who are you going to, Yankees and Guardians?
Dude, you know what? I'm going off tonight's magic. I'm feeling it. I'm feeling the Guardians come back. They win the series 4-2. No more wins for the Yankees. Guardians,
Wow.
Dodgers World Series.
Reverse
No,
swing.
the MLB is probably begging for a Yankee Dodgers World Series.
Yeah,
But no,
probably.
not me.
Not me. Not me. I'll tell you what, if there's any indication, Aaron Judge looked absolutely dejected tonight.
That's right.
Like he looked like a picture of him, like, what just happened? Like, did we actually just lose this game?
That's right.
So yeah, I can see that. I'm taking the Yankees because again, I told you I'm selfish. I want a Dodger Yankee World Series. Obviously, we're both taking the Dodgers. So
Yep.
I can't get anything back from there. Something we missed that was huge for us, Big Z. The NHL is back, people. All right. And I'm just listen.
Regular season.
Regular season's back. Look, just catch a game if it's on. It's nice because there's always something on. If you want to watch something, the NHL's there. But I will say, do not judge the NHL off of the regular season. Okay.
No.
If you're going to be turned off by the NHL during the regular season, stop watching. That's my plea to you. Give it until the playoffs because the playoffs, NHL playoffs, I love the regular season. Let me be clear. I love watching the regular season. I love watching the fights, the whole 9 yards, the goals, the skill, just all of it. I love it. I love watching hockey. But the playoffs in hockey are just a different level. So give it a shot, give it a chance. Make sure you make it there with enough gusto left to appreciate the NHL hockey playoffs.
That's right.
Amazing.
Yeah, listen. It's like playoff baseball. Like people, like the general public watches playoff baseball that don't watch regular season baseball. It's just a completely different beast.
Yep.
Yeah,
and I just stopped going to playoff games because I went to a Kings playoff game and they got obliterated 7-1 by the Oilers.
Yeah,
and
bro,
I went
don't go
to the Dodgers and we got obliterated 7-2. And both times it was 7. So it's clearly my fault. I apologize, LA. I'm never going to another playoff game again. You're welcome. So
I just can't afford these playoff games anymore. I can't. Like
I
not the
like
World Series.
Can I just say for a moment, I love that your voice got deeper. Like you got so sober. Like I can't. I'd love to, but I can't. Gotham needs me. Like I can't. I cannot go to these games. Like just like your voice has been here. Like I'm here this whole time, and then all of a sudden you're like, I can't go to any more games. Like I was like, oh my god, okay. He's really sad about this. But
Sadness.
yeah, I mean for real, it's $1,010. I think is the cheapest ticket I saw
For the World Series.
And I
Not
got
the game that you just went to.
No,
but, yeah.
no. My tickets were like $130.
Yeah.
No, the World Series was like $1,000, and that like gets you like your left nostril will be bleeding before the game is done.
Exactly. Yeah.
So just be aware of
Good one.
that.
Good one.
Big Z, this has been fun. We have forgotten words. We have made up words. We have made lame dad jokes. Say bye to the people.
People, sorry. Yeah, no, actually, I'm not sorry. We're just being us. We're just so hyped on the Dodgers that I just blame that. Hope you guys have a good week. Enjoy this weekend. Got a lot of cool MLB stuff. A lot of good football, college football. We need to start talking about college football a little
Oh
bit.
my gosh.
Uh, like we're letting the people down. So next week, put it on the list. Let's talk. Let's have a little segment of college football.
I'm adding it right now.
But we love you guys. You guys have a great weekend.
College football, man. I mean, check
We
it
got to
out.
talk about it.
Oregon is still undefeated. They just took out Ohio
Yes.
State because Ohio State's quarterback didn't realize that there was something called a clock, which seems slightly awkward. Alabama's already lost, so if you hate Alabama, that's something to be fun for. There's probably not going to be an undefeated team when it's all said and done,
It's great.
which is sort of fun. Yeah, I'm a big fan of it. We will
More parody.
absolutely, right, right.
Yes. That's a
Okay.
word. That's a good word there. Okay.
There it is. Hey, dude, look at you. You brought it back, dude. You did it. But yeah, we will absolutely talk some more college football. It's absolutely crazy. Maybe we'll get crazy and just give you a rundown of some of our favorite games so far because we have been watching. My boy Matt is still super depressed. I mean, absolutely depressed. He's the biggest Fresno State fan. And like before the season we started, I told him, like, dude, you guys are going to be great as long as you don't lose a game. And when they lost, I texted him because I thought it'd be funny. I thought it'd be funny, Big Z. It wasn't funny, Big Z. It wasn't funny. I was like, dude, your season's done. And he like didn't talk to me for days. So that is what it is. Big Z, people, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for joining me. Big Z is always the core, the nucleus, the back of our show. Big Z, applaud for Big Z. We love you, people. Come back, check us out. Go check out our freaking YouTube. Go
Please.
check it out.
If you like it,
done it,
if you like posts, it goes to the algorithm and it spreads it out through the interwebs. Please help us. Please just like our stuff and subscribe. Thank you.
Look, I
it's
will.
free.
I will,
it's all free.
100%, dude. Maybe you know what, dude? Maybe I'll start like dressing up as like a ninja or something, and like that way people have to go look to see how ridiculous.
I'll start dressing up as a Jedi if you guys want.
Ooh, the Jedi. Ooh, I'll be Han Solo then.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah. See, now we're coming up with it. Anyways, we're dorks. Have a great night, great day. Wherever